Hi, I'm Cheryl. Look how nice my glasses match the card. I've got this, I've gone shabby chic for this Christmas card, and I'll show you how I did this. And this is what we're going to need today. You need a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. That's our card base. I have 2 pieces of very vanilla cardstock, 5.5 by 4 1/4, and we'll need a piece of this is I'm going to show you an alternative to using something in here. I need another piece of very vanilla. Let me grab that real quick. I keep my papers in this, it's a job ticket holder, and whenever I have scrap pieces, I just put them right in the front here, and then I can just pull a piece out. There's my other piece of very vanilla that I'll need. And that you'll need a piece 4 by 3. I don't know if this looks like it's, yeah, it's about 4 by 3. Good. So I'm good on my very vanilla. And then another piece of cherry cobbler. You only need a piece about 3.5 by 4 3/4. And this is a little bigger than that, but that's okay because my scrap will go into my cherry cobbler folder. I'm using the Carols of Christmas stamp set. We're using the Deck the Halls, and there's, let's see, where is it? There's a little hollyberry stamp. We're going to use that, and also the little hollyberry die, which I'm going to get that out right now because we're going to be doing some die cutting. Okay, and also I'm using my sheet music background stamp. So let me get that out. I'll put that over here on the side. Okay. Then our dies that I'm using. I found this really pretty die. This I found on AliExpress.com. If you don't have this exact one, you can use, maybe you have another border die similar to this that you could use, something a little fancy. And this one actually you can emboss. So we're going to cut and emboss, and I'll show you how to do that. But I'll put a link to the website to the place I got this down below, and where I put all my things I used, my materials used. And then also we're going to be using from the Layering Framelits dies. We're using, I believe it was the biggest. Yes, it was the biggest oval die. So we'll be using that today. And then the inks that we're using are Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Cherry Cobbler, and Garden Green. Some little extras I have. I have the Nuvo Embellishments Mousse. This is the Indian Gold color. I'll be using a little bit of that. And then also Nuvo Crystal Drops. I have, this is called Autumn Red. I'll be using that. We need our snail, our Tombow, and we'll need a sponge also. And off to the side I have my Big Shot, and we'll be using some of the extra accessories for that. I have the, what do they call it? It's a precision base plate for intricate finlets. I need that to cut my little fancy border here. And of course, we need one of the cutting plates. And then I'm also using the embossing things. There's two different parts. One is a rubbery one and one is a hard one, and you do need to get both of them. They're always, I've only ever seen them sold separately. They don't sell them as set, and I don't know why, because you do need to have both. And then just our regular standard base plate we'll be using. So let's cut out our little intricate thing here, frame here. And I always find it usually will cut a little better if you put it at an angle. Don't put it straight across like this or like this. But I try to, if at all possible, I try to put it at a bit of an angle on my plate. So I have that. I'll put my cutting plate on top here. It shifted a little bit. Let me make sure it's on the paper. And I'll run that through and cut this. It cranks a little hard and makes a bit of noise, but you need that to get this cut properly. You need a bit of extra pressure. So let me see if that cut nicely, and it should have. I don't anticipate a problem. And yeah, it looks good. It looks like it did. Now you can save the centerpiece. Look how pretty that is. Save that for something else. You might want to use that some other time. But you want to keep this in the die if at all possible, and if not, just move it around. You'll feel it kind of click back into the die. But for the next step, we're going to use our embossing plates. So I have my hard mat, then my rubber mat. I'm going to put this carefully down on top of those. And I don't need this anymore. And we put our cutting plate on top here. And that, I need to open this up to the number 1. You see? What's nice about these base plates here is that it tells you how to make your sandwiches right on the plates and right on the various things. When you flip it open, it's got everything just right there for you. So you don't even have to remember, because it's all written out for you. Okay, so there we go. And let me show you here now. I'm going to try to whack these out. I probably should have brought my little brush thing over too. Get this out of the die. There we go. Oh, nice. Everything stayed in the die. I can clean that out later. But let me get this up close to the camera. You see here on the corners, around the edge, it's embossed now also. So not only do you have this pretty border die shape, but it's embossed too. Which is a good thing, because what we're going to do is we'll take our embellishment mousse, and I'm going to add just a little bit of glimmer to my card. I'll take my mousse, and I'm going to need a diaper wipe handy, because I want to wipe my fingers afterwards. So, got my diaper wipe off the side here. And I'm just going to use my finger and just get a little bit of that mousse on my fingertip, and I'll rub it on the, I want to just highlight that embossing, and maybe just a little bit on on this lattice type work here, but mostly on the embossing. So we're shooting for the embossing, but if you get it elsewhere, then it's not a big deal. So almost done. Just rub that all along here. In there. So now it's got just a little bit of glimmer on there. So I like these mousses. They're a lot of fun to work with, and they're messy. That's just right up my alley. The messier the better. If I'm not being messy, then I'm just not having fun. Okay, so this part's ready now. Let me bring in my smaller piece of my Very Vanilla, and we'll do our stamping. We'll stamp that with the Deck the Halls stamp. And a lot of times I'll use a stamping platform for something like this, but I'm just gonna take my chances. I'm gonna wing it today, and I'm gonna stamp right in the middle of this piece and make sure that's firmly against it. And oh, I got a nice impression. And I'm done with that. I can put that aside. So the next thing I'll do now is I'm going to cut this out with my oval die. So let me bring in my platform, and oh, I need another cutting plate. Okay. So I'm just going to line this up. So always stamp first, because then you can adjust with your die. If you cut it out, if you cut your shape out first, then it's much harder to stamp it nice and centered and straight and all that. So stamp first and then cut it out. And we'll run that through. Cut that out. Bring this out. So it's been really nice here lately. We've had some beautiful weather thanks to Tropical Storm Philippe. I mean, other than rain, we got a little rain. But it's been nice, and well, for South Florida, it's been nice and cool. Okay, so now we're going to take our holly and our garden green ink, and around the edges here, we're going to stamp some holly that we're going to use on the card front. And I believe I used 5 of them, so we'll stamp 5 on here. And wow, this is something I could have done ahead of time. I don't know why I didn't. And we can put our green away now. And where did my little die go? There it is. So I wish I had 5 of these little dies right now. I could do this all in one pass. Then just line that up. And cut it out. Maybe I'll only do like 3 of them just to save some time. Okay, there's one. Oh, I know what I can do. I could talk about the new Stampin' Up blends while I'm doing this. Stampin' Up came out. This is their second try at alcohol markers. And they call them Stampin' Blends now, and they have them in a lot of the Stampin' Up colors. I have a pamphlet somewhere around here that if I knew where it was, I could quick show you. But yeah, so I got the set. I got the full set, and I've been trying them out, having a little fun with them, and they blend with each other pretty nicely. The tips are not quite as stiff as I'm used to. I have a set of the Spectrum Noir pens that I normally use, but I think they're going to be just wonderful. And the reason I got them, even though I have the set of Spectrum Noir pens, is that now I have the pens that do coordinate with Stampin' Up colors. So I thought that would be a nice addition to my crafting repertoire. And the difference between the regular markers and the alcohol markers is the blending. They blend much easier. I also like the design of the pen itself because it's a rather flat shape. They don't roll away. So that's nice. It helps me keep track of them. I tend to lose things. Things go rolling away in my craft room and I lose them. So we're not using them. We won't be using them today on this card though. They're not available to you guys yet. I got it's a pre-order for our demonstrators. Oh, it shifted. Darn. I was trying to get all 5 of these cut out fast. Here. While keeping you entertained. And so it's the start of the cold and flu season, so I celebrated that by getting the flu. I was not feeling well for a good 3-4 days. So I hadn't even had a chance to even think about getting a flu shot. But I'm pretty much over it now. I missed having my little grandson here. Of course, he couldn't be around me while I had it. So, okay. There we go. We've got all 5 of these out, cut out now. And that's it for the die cutting. I can get rid of my Sizzix Big Shot. Get that off the table. I have a little more room here now. Alright. So, the next thing we're going to do, we'll bring in our early espresso, one of our larger pieces of the very vanilla cardstock, and our what is it? What is it called? Sheet music. I'm just going to lay it on my table. If you want to stick it onto something, that's up to you, what you like to do, but I just stick it right on my table. Then I'm going to ink the stamp. I'm going to take my stamp pad to the stamp rather than the stamp pad to the ink for this. And I'll just very carefully put this down on here. And holding my paper in place, I'm very careful to do that. And I'll just rub down, and you see I'm getting some smears on the back side, and that's okay because this is the back side. And pick that up. And there's our music notes. And get my little diaper wipe thing here. I'll wipe my fingers off real good because we don't need that other places. And I'm going to bring in my other piece of Very Vanilla. Oh. And what we're going to do, we're going to tear the edges. And there is a way to tear the edges. If you take your paper and pull the part you're tearing off, pull up, you'll get a nice ragged, jagged edge on that. If you want something a little bit more controlled and less ragged, jagged, then pull down on it. But we're pulling up, pull up, pull up, pull up. We're going to pull off about 1/4 of an inch on the edges here on both of these pieces of paper. And we'll be using our sponge and our crumb cake ink to further age the paper. So the same thing on this one. Try to get a little faster here, so this has got to be a little boring to watch. There we go. So we'll get our crumb cake and our sponge. And we're going to also go around the edge of this little piece here. So ink that up and get those edges real good. In some spots we're going to go in a little further. You see, so it's all smudgy on there. Let me get a little bit more over here, and I'm gonna do a little dabbing inside here on top of the music, just to make it look like an old piece of music, sheet music. And we'll do the same on this piece. This will go on the inside of our card. And again, I'm just in little places, I'm gonna add a little bit more of the ink. Just dab that on there just a little bit, so that this also looks old and aged. And then we're just doing just a little border all the way around on this, on our oval. Okay. So we're good with that. Now we can start putting our card together. So let's I'll bring my card base in. I'll take my sheet music, and I'm just going to put some snail on the back here, because I don't want it sitting real flat down like on it. I'm going to actually flick up the edges a little bit, because we do want it to look old. And we're going to just place that down. I think that's upside down. I think it's supposed to go that way. There we go. I was just looking at the music. Probably most people wouldn't even notice that, but I notice things like that. Now on our border here, or our little decorative frame thing, I'm just putting some snail around the edges here. You could use Tombow if that makes you feel better. And I'm going to center that then on our sheet music. This is starting to look nice, isn't it? And then our Deck the Halls. Some snail on there. And we'll put that, we'll center that on our beautiful little border piece here. So, while I'm here, if you don't have this little border piece and you don't want to get it, well, if you don't, and you don't have something of your own that would work, then I came up with kind of a little different idea here, and I seem to have lost, oh dear, I seem to have lost my background piece. Well, I guess it fell into my craft room black hole. I had a piece of cherry cobbler that would just kind of put this on this piece here so you get the idea. So I would go around, I cut this with a scallop punch from the Layering Ovals Framelits. See, they have the scalloped ones also. So I used the largest scallop punch that I had, and I cut out my piece of Very Vanilla that I'm using. And then I had a piece, I had the oval. I had an oval that was just a little bit bigger than this with the, from the cherry cobbler. So if you don't have this, you could back it like this and just put that on here. Anyhow, so much for showing you that. I'll find that piece sometime later, I'm sure. I have no clue where that went. Okay, so anyway, let's put our piece here on the inside. That goes on the inside, and let's see, I think that looks nice that way. So I'll put some of my snail on here and put that right there. You can put any sentiment you want. Just put any sentiment you want right there on this card. And I happen to have on, I have got the Tim Holtz stamping platform for my birthday, and I'm liking this. And I have 2 Christmas greetings here that I've left on here because on my cards I want to have a dual sentiment on the inside. So I'll have a sentiment here, and I'll have a sentiment over here. But I'm just going to use the one that goes on the right hand side here. And I'll put my magnets down here. And let's see, I want to stamp that in Early Espresso. Look at my Early Espresso pad. So this is already set up and lined up. That should just go perfectly right there. I'm just going to wipe off some of this ink that I got in places that I don't want ink to be. And here we go. Just press that down. And there we go. I've got my sentiment on there. I'll wipe that up a little bit. I'll clean that better later. So that's just going to stay on my platform for the holiday season because I'll be starting my own cards and using that. Okay, so now it's time to put some holly on. Better close up my ink, or I'll probably get that on myself. And we just put a little bit of Tombow on here and place our holly wherever we think that it might be nice. I think a holly there would be good. Just a little dab there. love to have there. Oh, let's see. Maybe one over here on the side. I'm just doing them kind of random. I don't want them all lined up. It always looks much better that way, I think. And let's see, one right here, I think. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add our berries with our Nuvo drops. So I've got my little piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to, sometimes they kind of pop a little bit out the end to start out, but then what you want to do, you get your little glop of your product coming out the end, and that's what gets touched to the paper. And I'm going to try to do 3 separate little berries on each of my little holly things. If they run together a little bit, don't worry, that's not the end of the world. I promise. And now we have a little bit of dimension on there, and they shine a little bit. They're not sparkly, but it adds a little bit to our, just adds that little bit to our card. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to clean my nozzle off, shake my product down, and check to see, see, I still had stuff in my schnozzle there. I don't want that. That's how you get your schnozzle all clogged up. Okay, there we go. And our card's complete. I hope you've enjoyed this card. I hope you'll make these. It really doesn't take that long to do, and it's a very nice look, I think. I love Shabby Chic. So if you've liked this video, please hit the like button down below. If you want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. Check out my channel on YouTube, because I have a lot of cards out there, and a lot more coming. And if there's any products that you'd like to purchase from Stampin' Up, then I have down in my materials list, I have everything that I've used, and you can shop with me either through my website or not my Facebook page or my website. And y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.